Hello, everybody, and welcome to OpenExO Live. It is really great to be with you this evening or this morning, wherever you are calling in or watching in from all over the world. Really great to have you. And this week we have Saskia, who is calling in from Mexico, just south of Mexico City. And you can see there's some amazing people coming up in the coming weeks. You can see there on the 3rd of November, we actually have an open slot. And so if you are in the OpenExO community and you want to be on OpenExO Live, do head over to the marketplace where you can apply and you can be on the show. And so before we get Saskia up on screen, I do have some messages which came from some community members. And the first one comes from Daniel. And he just said, Saskia is an amazing human being, full of energy, and one of the best coaches and trainers I have ever met. In everything she does, she is all in and cares deeply in helping people become the best versions of themselves. Next, we have from Fabian. Saskia is an amazing person, trainer, therapist, and friend. She is always fueled by passion and purpose. I met her during the consultant certification, and since then, I have been following her adventures, both personal and professional. This woman has no limits. She is committed to sharing her knowledge and inspiration and inspiring others to take action. I truly have learned a lot from her. Do yourself a favor and take a look at her book. And I'm gonna say it in English because I'll butcher the Spanish. Uncertainty creates abundance. All the best, Saskia. Break a leg. And so with that, I want to welcome up Saskia onto screen. Saskia, welcome.
Thank you, Kevin. What a warm welcome. I was not expecting those beautiful messages, and I'm so excited. And hopefully, we can have a fantastic time. I'm so privileged and so happy. Thank you, thank you.
It's a pleasure. The one thing I love about this community is all the connections, and I know some of those connections came way before the community, from what I understand about Daniel, but it's always so great to see what the community have to say about one another, and so I always start OpenExO Live by asking the person that I'm chatting to give a bit of a background about yourself. I know there's a lot that you do, as has been shared by Fabian, but tell the folks who are watching a little bit about Saskia, what it is you do, and also how you came to join the OpenExO community.
Well, let's see. I was born in Mexico, and I've been working. I founded my own company in human development training, sales, and high stakes negotiations trainings about 22 years ago in Latin America. You can imagine that that was a huge challenge as a woman in a Latin American territory. We've been very successful. The company has grown, and we've been doing trainings in Mexico, Latin America, in the US, and in Europe and Spain, particularly. But we've done also some stuff in Switzerland. And I also, for many years, I used to be in the professional animation world, that is computer graphics and 3D. And I used to interact with people, high level people like from Pixar or Star Wars and that kind of thing. And I worked for many years also in Japan in computer animation in Canada. And as of today, one of the things that I love to do today is I do open water swimming, and that's something that's it's a new gig in my life, and I just love learning and just interacting with people. My biggest focus in life is just human behavior in general.
Insane, doing far too many things, but I do also believe that those people who do many things get to do many things, and so share a little bit also about your MTP, your massive transformative purpose.
My MTP is until consciousness delivers results, uh, and this has to do with the fact that we can be conscious about situations, or we can realize new parameters or situations or events, but that doesn't mean that brings us to action and to results. So that's why until consciousness delivers results, which, by the way, how I joined the OpenExO community through Salim, through his course on Growth Institute. Thank you, Daniel Marcos, and through Growth Institute and the course from Exponential Organizations, and through Salim. So yeah, until consciousness delivers results.
Okay. And how would you say you actually go about um, driving that MTP to reality?
Wow, that's a beautiful question. I'd say that one of the things that I do through my company and through my whole team is uh, we make sure that we support people at their own rhythm. We don't put any pressure. We really try to specialize ourselves in emotions. Emotions are really a huge opening door to understand human behavior.
Mm,
And emotions really have messages all the time for us. People, for example, they say, okay, I'm a grumpy person, or or maybe like the movie Inside Out, right, from Pixar. But it's just
mm,
like, maybe I tend to be a sad person. But anytime we look into emotions like anger, sadness, depression, you name it, there are hidden messages, and we try to support people to understand what the emotion is telling us all the time, and how that brings awareness. And this awareness can help us understand our deepest needs in life, and from there understand our behaviors, actions, results, and so on and so forth. But I'd say that one of the most beautiful things for me is just to be, in a conference or in a training, and maybe show some concept or some idea, and just see the face of someone go, ah, that type of the aha
mm,
moment.
mm.
That brings people close to consciousness, and people to realize what's going on. It's just about having probably definitions or distinctions that help us understand much better the world, our behavior, the behavior of other people, and just how can we use this understanding to go into action and then into results.
Yeah,
It's just,
absolutely.
it's beautiful.
And I mean, all of our organizations, of course, are on well, currently are nothing without people. I know that there's some people out there that think that perhaps we can just get an AI to do everything, but and maybe not. Maybe that allows humans to be more human, and maybe that's a good thing. But that is a whole other debate. That's not what I wanted to say. But the within organizations, you got a lot of people, and the one thing about a lot of the processes, and the tools that we run from an EXO point of view, you know, are a lot about getting people's mindset to understand what technology is doing, or how organizations work now, which is slightly different. What would you say were some maybe of the aha moments from an EXO model point of view that you like, yeah, I now sort of use those attributes, to leverage those either in your business or even in the work you do?
Okay, well, that's a beautiful question. I would say that uh, with the new changes around the world, and after the pandemic and the lockdown and this and that, it's very clear to me that, of course, exponential organizations, and even my own company, we look into, for example, staff on demand. And staff on demand is, for example, my sales director is part of this model of staff on demand. And we're talking about sales. It's not a minor position in a company.
Mm,
And I'd say that through staff on demand, we also come closer to our MTP, because through staff on demand, we also have the perfect equilibrium between work and like a lifestyle and free time and family time, because people more and more are demanding this type of working into companies. Staff of demand can give the freedom to my sales director to be in charge of the sales of my own company, but he can also travel, and he can also take care of his family. So staff of demand is one of the key things that we use to work with to deliver consciousness. I'd say, of course, community and crowd, and community and crowd. Taking advantage of the two ideas of the grouping of people. People who are not really who don't have things in common, but then community, through people who have things in common, and also this can help us get closer to our MTP and to our goal to really come closer to consciousness through the differences, through diverse situations, but also through things that are in common in a community group or in people that are in together. And the beautiful thing is that through these elements, then we can teach about leadership in a much more clear way. People understand this in the
Mm,
potential of this, and people understand this in a much more clear way. So it's amazing how both ideas and scale. Of course, my company, it's a smaller company. We don't have still maybe a large dashboard or the AI technology. We're not there yet. We have still a long way to go, but anything related, of course, to staff on demand, leverage assets, community and crowd, anything related to people. That's what that we're really using those concepts from EXO, from the
mm.
EXO model, and that brings in a lot of consciousness to us, to our customers, and to clients. It's beautiful.
No, absolutely. Now, your latest book, and there've been a few and some co-authored books, is Uncertainty Generates Abundance.
Yeah. Here it is.
Now, you you cannot summarize it in the small amount of time. That's it, exactly. How do I actually say that in Spanish? Uh,
Well, la incertidumbre genera abundancia. Uncertainty creates or generates abundance.
and so tell us actually what was the impetus? I mean, writing a book's not easy. So,
Oh,
like,
it's a
what was the
headache.
impetus behind writing the book, and sort of the you know the ultimate outcome that you, I mean, obviously it relates to your MTP as well, but tell us a little bit about it.
Well, in general, human beings, we do not have a good relationship with uncertainty in general. We want certainty, we want security, we want forecasting, we want to be able to know what's going to happen. In fact, from the emotional or psychological point of view, if we tend to control the future, if you want to have certainty all the time, that's probably one of the biggest sources of anxiety. So one of the things that I wanted to do in the book is just to explain that we can change our relationship with uncertainty. Uncertainty is not so bad. Uncertainty, in fact, it's a great source of abundance, and that's what I say in the book. Uncertainty means that a couple of ideas that I explain in the book. But for example, uncertainty means that I have to learn, or that it's a good idea for me to learn to stay in the question, to keep myself in the question, and not to be eager all the time to find all the answers. For me, it's much better to stay in the question and to keep on asking myself, because sometimes once we find an answer, once we find the result, and okay, I have this type of question and then I have this answer, we usually stop looking, and then that's the result. And but if we stay in the question, and if we keep on asking, then there's abundance of ideas, results, and possibilities. So that's one
Yeah.
idea in the book. The other idea in the book is that sometimes we leave we because we have a lot of expectations. Sometimes we end up very frustrated. So the idea also of uncertainty is, what if we don't have expectations? And what would happen in our world if we don't have expectations, and maybe we're open and we're flexible to different results and to different
Mm.
possibilities? Then that's also abundance. And also, the third idea about uncertainty is, yeah, the idea that we can reinterpret all the events. So, the idea of a half full glass, half empty glass, but also it's not about the fact that it's half full or half empty, but rather, you know, what is it that I want to do with that? And that opens the door for action and for results. So I can have a full glass, a full empty. I can understand how that affects me, but it doesn't matter whether I have a full or an empty glass. It's all about what I'm going to do about it, and
Mm.
that's related to action, responsibility, and commitment, and so on and so forth. So those would be the three main ideas. But let me show something really quick that I think that's a cool thing. The book is, it's a very colorful book, but it's full of cartoons, and
Yeah.
I think that's a really cool thing, that it has, colorful things and just cartoons all over the place. So, uh, which is also probably an abundance way to put it. Abundant way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And those cartoons drawn by yourself, because I've seen you draw them in real life too, and quite quickly. So
That's right.
not animated yet because it's a paper book, but but
You got it. You got it. It's still paper book.
so so I mean, you live in this world of you know well, I mean, we all live in this world of like
Hopefully.
understanding, humans, understanding technology, abundance, and really finding ways to allow for that, consciousness, to deliver results, right? And so, what would you say sort of are some of the extra elements, within an exponential organization, right? They've got the attributes going, but what are some of the additional things that perhaps you think, would actually improve the way that they're running or their results? Because we have seen some people leveraging EXO attributes, having a lot of like a lot of people issues, right? So what would you say are some of the extra elements perhaps that you look at?
Well, you have the ideas attributes, you have the scale attributes, uh, but of course, all businesses are about people. The human factor is critical.
Hmm.
So I would say that, even when we're implementing ideas or scale, from the EXO attributes, it's key to take on account anything related to soft skills, leadership, team buildings, and collaboration. Also, for me, something that is critical, there are also two other ingredients that I would say that are critical. It's anything related to emotions, feelings, emotional intelligence, reinterpretation of things, empathy, the way we manage conflicts, all sorts of soft skills and emotional intelligence. And the third one, which is becoming critical for any company, is to have negotiation skills, which is very surprising, Kevin. One of the things that I've been learning, I'm a specialist in negotiation skills, and as a high stakes negotiations facilitator and coach. One of the things that I see, even with general managers, is that they they think that negotiations has to do with winning or losing the least, or winning the most, when really negotiation is a discovery process. And in this discovery process, it's all about, uh, exchange information, exchange possibilities, and make sure that your questions really go also again through for consciousness, to deliver results. So negotiation is key. It's like general managers have to know how to negotiate. And all these three elements, soft skills, emotional intelligence, and negotiations, bring the better of all the attributes of EXO. Crowd, community, social, autonomy. It's all related. It really, these three elements improve the attributes. That's my point of view.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say, that's why when it comes to implementation, we take that coaching approach versus a consulting approach of of just saying, do this, do this, do this, rather, getting people to realize what they need to do, how they need to do it, but in a way where you are, you leveraging these skills, right? That you speak about. Now, we were speaking about abundance earlier, and I really believe we have an amazing abundant future that, well, and even now, there's so much amazing, like the amount of access that we have to great information, to people, to so much, yet we live in a world where perhaps you know you know there's there's a lot of anxiety, and especially in younger people, there's a lot of depression. There's a lot of problems. There's also hoarding of resources. There's like, so you know why do you think this, like, for you, like, why is this the case? And I guess what can we do as a human society to actually allow this abundance to benefit the majority of people? Very
I know
difficult question.
it's almost like a contradiction, right? It's like we're living in a world, just like maybe Salim says, or what Peter Diamandis says. Is like it's a world of abundance, as you say. It's abundance of information in Google, abundance of places to stay in Airbnb, abundance of drivers in Uber, etc., etc. And there is abundance, and we have access to a lot of resources, and yet there is a lot of anxiety and depression, because I think there are a couple of things there. Um, Sometimes, as human beings, when we have too many options, just like when you go to the supermarket and you find a huge aisle with 300 types of cereals, right? Like, what type of cereal I'm going to buy? That it brings a lot of anxiety, and anxiety has to do with controlling the future, and because I have so many choices, then I don't know. And depression is also, it's like, things used to be like this, and it was easier. It's all about how we handle our perspectives, right? It's all about how because perspective is reality. It's like a filter, and we have a perspective about life, and we see those things like, okay, that's my reality, that's the thing, that's the way things are for everybody. It's like a filter.
Mm. Yeah.
And I think for some people, the way they look abundance, it's like it's a great opportunity, and for other people, abundance is just like, how do I choose, or what do I do with so many choices, and I don't know how to choose. So it's all about interpretation of the events, about perspective, about maybe because one thing is abundance, and the other thing is the excess of resources. And abundance also, I think, is related to the fact that to know when to choose and what to put on the side, what to leave. That is also abundance, to choose to let go, for example. And yeah, especially younger generations are in front of situations that bring them a lot of anxiety because of social networks and computers and technology, and a lack of access to nature. It's just about perspective. We have access to so many things, but it's about my values and principles that let me choose what is it that I really want, and just choose smarter, wiser. Perspective. I
No,
would say it's a
absolutely.
matter of perspective.
Perspective is actually one thing that I think maybe we don't talk enough about, right? Not a single person sees the world the same way,
Right.
yet we all live in the same world. And fine, some things are for sure, right? If I jump out my window right now, I know I'm going to fall 7 stories, and that's going to be bad for my body. Um, uh, but um, but but there's other things that maybe are a matter of perspective, like the fact that I'm nearing 40 and I'm still single. Some people might think that you know uh, have a certain perspective on that, and many people have different perspectives on that, and
Yeah.
and and so but also just the way we see the world. I think it comes back to what you were saying about stay in the question, right? Rather than jumping to conclusions of it's my way because I've already got an answer, and so this is the answer. And with that, I'm going to ask you for one last statement because we've come to the end of time. Just to say, I always like to ask people at the end, like, what is the one thing you want to share with folks as we end off the call? And so, what is that one thing for Saskia?
Well, I'd say that when you ask me that question, it's so difficult just to stick to one single idea. But if there's anything that I can share really quickly, it's about how we interpret events really quickly. Um, my mom was sick for 37 years. She had 4 brain hemorrhages and 6 brain surgeries.
Wow.
That put me in a situation in which, from when I was 14 until a couple of years ago, 51 or so, she was sick all the time.
Hmm.
And the typical reaction to that would be, of failure, of I have to fight, I have to be strong, I have to achieve things. But nonetheless, there was something that my mom taught me, and that I put that into open waters swimming, which is about the mindset and how to reinterpret all the events. All the time we have the possibility to change the way we reinterpret events. And it's really on me whether I put a sense of humor into that, or I make it a bigger problem. Or I think that's the biggest source of joy in life. No matter what is your situation, whether it's sickness, whether it's a lack of resources, whether you don't know what to do, you just put a little bit of humor into that and just make life joyful, and just make sure you make somebody else also laugh, and make sure everybody can open their hearts. It's just, it's all about being authentic and open our hearts. That's what I would say.
Awesome. Could not agree more, Saskia. We actually get to I think we can get to choose our future, but you can also get to choose your past by interpreting, just like you said, by interpreting that past in a certain way. And that's really lovely. So thank you so much for being with us on Mexican Independence Day. I guess you will be out this evening. Viva la Mexico. Enjoy it.
Yes.
And thank you so much for being on the show. And we'll chat to you soon, I hope.
Yeah, but it's my privilege, Kevin. You have no idea how happy you make me with this interview and all the things that you do around the world. You're an amazing guy. Everything that you do for OpenExO is just incredible, and I feel privileged. And thank you very much. I'm at your service and at the service of the community. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Saskia. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
So great chatting to Saskia. And so please do go check out Saskia on the OpenExO community. Go find her, hit her up, chat to her, amazing individual. And do remember to join us again next week too. Thanks so much, everybody.